Probably the most important area in the game of basketball is decision making. As important as it is to have those baseline skills like shooting or ball handling, finishing, or anything else, the ability to identify and make the right decision consistently and on time is where true game results come from. I hear from players all the time who struggle with their decision making and are frustrated trying to figure out how to improve it. This is definitely an area where players are unsure of, and in general, an area where players and coaches don't spend enough time focusing on and developing. So in this video, we're going to break down exactly how you can become a better decision maker and see those positive results in games. Let's get into it. I think the number one reason why players struggle making decisions in real games when there's defenders, coaches, teammates, a crowd, and of course all the pressure that comes along with those things is because a lot of players spend the majority of their time working out by themselves and they don't face enough situations where they have to make decisions in practice or in workouts. When you spend all your time working out by yourself, there's no decisions for you to have to make and there's no cues for you to have to react to. Now, don't misconstrue what I'm saying. It's very, very important that you work on those skills by yourself, that you get those reps up alone so that you can have those baseline abilities when you actually are in a situation facing other players. But it's also imperative that in your training you find other players to work out with so you can develop the skill of making decisions. And if you want those skills that you work on to transfer into actual games, that's where it really becomes important that you find players to train with. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be every single time that you work out, but finding players from time to time to work out with will force you to have to make decisions, to react to different things, and ultimately will help you to see those results pay off and transfer when you get to actual games. This could be as simple as playing more 5-on-5 or playing more pickup, and I think in general playing as much pickup as possible is super, super important. But even better than that would be to grab a couple teammates or a friend or somebody to play against and then put yourself in different game situations and work on making decisions and playing out of that. So for example, this could be you guys playing out of a 2-on-2 closeout drill where somebody passes the ball, the defender has to close out to them, and you guys play live off of that. Or maybe it could be a 1-on-2 ball screen drill where you're working on being that offensive player coming off of the ball screen and having to worry about your defender and the hedge defender. It could be a 2-on-2 ball screen drill. It could be a 1-on-2 offensive disadvantage drill with a help defender. There's so many different ways that you can manipulate the defense to give yourselves game looks and be able to train that decision-making ability. And really all it takes is having a little bit of creativity. This gets you in the habit of having to figure things out on the fly while you're working out, which is exactly a skill that you need when you're playing. And it helps to bridge the gap between your practice reps and those actual game reps so that you see that transfer from practice to games. By consistently doing this and putting yourself in these situations, you're going to start to see those game results and you're naturally going to become a better decision maker. Now, I mentioned earlier that this is an area that a lot of players overlook, but it's also an area that a lot of coaches overlook as well. As a coach or a trainer, it can be really easy to put our players in situations where they're always going to succeed, where they're always going to look good, so that throughout an entire workout, I can make sure that every single drill, we see a steady improvement because there's no decision making, there's no potential for that player to mess things up. But I think that this is a counterproductive way to approach training. I think if you have the opportunities to, it's important to put players in those situations, even if it means that you as that coach are the one playing defense or giving them something to react to. I think that alone is super, super valuable, even though chances are it's going to make that player mess up more and maybe make the workout look more sloppy. At the end of the day, the game transfer, the game results are going to be so much better just by making that decision to work through those things. So as coaches, if you want our players to become as productive as possible in real games, we need to find opportunities to have them work on the decision-making ability. Just giving them those basic, straightforward skills is not enough. Decision-making, just like shooting or ball handling or finishing, is a skill that you need to work on. But if you only practice by yourself, there's not going to be an opportunity for you to really work on the decision-making skill. So while your other skills might be really, really high, this last piece of the puzzle is probably going to be an area you're going to be lacking in. Now I want to take you inside some of my workouts where we go through this decision-making process so you can see exactly what I mean. I want to take you guys through some of my workouts where we actually work on this ability to read the defense and to make decisions so you can see exactly what the step-by-step process is for getting better at this skill. Now, there's 3 steps to actually executing a skill on the court. The first step is where you read the situation to see what's going on. The second step is to decide what the best course of action to take is. And the third step is to do. The first two steps are what we really want to focus on when it comes to developing our decision-making ability, because when you work out by yourself, when there's no decision to be made, you work on that third part, which is doing, which obviously is very, very important. But when we talk about the entire picture of things, you also have to be able to read the situation and then make the best possible decision before you even get to doing. For example, in this clip right here, he has to read how his primary defender is playing him, and then he also has to read where that help defender is. At that point, he has to decide what the best course of action is. So he decides right here that the best thing to do is to spin back to the outside to avoid that help defender, which gives him an easy shot off the backboard. This drill is a great example of those three steps here. The player has to catch the ball and read to see how that defender is playing him, how they've closed out. Then they have to decide what the best course of action is, whether that's a drive, or maybe a jab, or maybe a shot fake, or maybe just a shot right away. And then they have to actually go out and do that option that they pick. It's that simple three-step process that we can repeat over and over through these drills, through having live defenders out there that's going to force you to have to read the situation, decide the best course of action, and then execute that skill. And as you do it more, you get better at reading the situation and doing it quicker. You get better at making the right decision, and then you get better at actually executing that skill. You have to understand that when you play against live defense, it's going to be sloppier, you're going to miss more shots and make more mistakes, but it's all a process of you getting better at becoming a great decision maker. If you guys enjoyed this video and you got something from it, make sure you drop a like and subscribe. And just to make sure that you guys get the most out of this, I want to give you guys my free decision-making checklist, which is going to take you through this step-by-step so you have a roadmap that you can follow to make sure that you're developing this skill as well. If you guys are interested in that, click the top link in my description below. I'll send that to you for free. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.